Hello and welcome to Winter Grace Senior Ministries. I am joined today by Kim Sherman, who is the chair of the membership committee of the Village in Howard. If you have not heard of the Village concept, you are in for a treat and a great way for the community to be involved in making the lives of older adults that much richer. Kim, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. I ought to start out first by telling you what village means.
Yes.
Since I live in Columbia and we have villages in Columbia, it has nothing to do with that. And the villages in Florida has nothing to do with that. It's just a concept in the Boston area. The Beacon Hill Village was the first one about, 20 years ago probably. And they all got together and decided they ought to help each other. So and every village, there are like 300 of them in the United States. Everyone is slightly different, but the basic idea is to have people get together and enjoy that part and then make coping with our aging work out well. And so one of the background words is aging in place. And I have trouble with that one because we're not trying to age and we're not trying to stay in place. It's actually a more active concept. And so what the Village in Howard tries to do is to make us able to have active, rewarding lives, living where we care to live. And that could include congregate living somewhere. We've got people who are in assisted living places and so forth. So it's just people getting together. So what the Village in Howard likes to do is to have exciting activities. And we have a huge list. Of course, all of them are on Zoom now. So that's quite different from what we want to be, because most of our activities included things like walks or getting together for a potluck and somebody telling about their travels, other kinds of activities like that, some of which have been modified for Zoom, but most of which are reduced somewhat in energy by having them in Zoom. It's good we have that technology. The second thing we do is we help each other. So if you are a full member, we have full member and associate members. Associate members just like the social part of it and might volunteer to help full members, who can be helped by obviously getting transported to important things like doctor's appointments and things like that. But if you just want to go visit your sister, it would be nice to have somebody who does drive. If you don't, get you there. And so those things and other simple things that a neighbor might do, like if you can't change a light bulb up in your ceiling, but plenty of people in the village can, and somebody might volunteer to come climb your ladder and unscrew your light bulb or screw in a new one, or fix a door lock. I actually remember replacing somebody's toilet seat. And so it's of that nature. Then we have one deeper dimension. We call that the circle of care. And that's when somebody has just come back from hip surgery or something else that needs for a little while help beyond the healthcare stuff. We're not we don't do any healthcare help. What we're more there is we clean up the dishes, get the mail, provide company, and do the kinds of things that you really need when you're stuck at home and can't move. And so that's a great benefit. We added that to what we do, but commonly we just do things together. And it might be somebody volunteering to help somebody else do something, or it might be just getting together and having an activity. We visited the Supreme Court and the Library of Congress and things like that on day trips. We took overnight or double overnight things to New York City and to the Delaware, Pennsylvania Valley area. So those are the kinds of things we do. Can I answer any questions for you, Debbie?
Sure. Well, you were saying you have different levels.
Yes.
And you have volunteers. Now, are all your volunteers, are they part of the village, or do you have volunteers in the community that aren't members that just say, hey, I want to contribute my time and this is a great cause?
We have both. Although if you're 27 and a volunteer, you come up on the membership list and you you could actually attend the activities and so forth, although you might not be interested in it. But yes, we have volunteers that are not members, and we have member volunteers. And one of the biggest things now in the computer age is that all these things that we do to help each other are linked by a really nice computer system that most of the villages use. And so if you call in for help or get on the computer and ask for some kind of help, it goes out to a number of people who can then respond, "I'd love to do that for you." And as soon as one responds, the other gets a nod needed message. And so very automatically, a person self-chooses that they'll drive that person to the doctor's office, and then all the other people get an email right away that could possibly a volunteer that says you're not needed. And then we get reminders that we're supposed to pick somebody up, and they get a reminder as to who's coming. And so the computer does a lot of the work in the background that makes any organization. I'm sure churches have those, and other organizations have those kinds of backgrounds, but it makes being in a village that's not really a village, that's virtually stretched all over the county, able to function rather automatically. And then we do have a person working half-time who does the things that you just have to manage. And then we have people working the desk, virtually working it from home right now, who, when you call in, can get you connected with whatever you need to be connected with. And that just goes 10 to 2 every day, every weekday.
Okay, wow, that computer system sounds fantastic and convenient.
Yeah, it's got its glitches. So
Sure.
Not every report I've gotten has been as positive as I put it out, but yeah, I'm trying to make it inviting.
Of course.
I don't want to tell you that when you hit that button, it doesn't work. But yes, it is a big help.
So if is there, you talked about somebody being 27, is there an age minimum to
You have
join
to
a
be
village?
55, and you must be a resident of Howard County. We did that when we incorporated. We have let that slip a little, that if you move outside the county, you can stay a member. We have one of our most highly participating members is in Florida now, lives in Florida, didn't go there for the winter, but now lives in Florida. And she says, with the COVID, I haven't made any friends yet in my neighborhood. So it's great still to have the village, and all she has to do is kick on for whatever activity she wants to participate in. But you have to be 55 or older. And we'd like to have a lot of 55 to 65-year-olds, because we've been in business for about 6 years, and we're 6 years older than we were. And the friends we ask to join are generally our age peers. And so we have this great fear that we're going to get older and older. And we need younger members also as volunteers. But the activities, I think, are attractive for anybody. It's a nice way to get together.
That was going to be my next question. How long have you been around? So about 6 years?
Yeah.
Was this a group of you got together, like-minded folks, and said, hey, we want to do something for our community, or how did it start?
A group of about 6 people actually put it together and applied to be a 501c3 organization, and the things you need to do to be that kind of an organization. But I have to give credit to Mary McGraw, who held a meeting at the library, the Ellicott City Library, and about 50 people attended, and she just kept that energy going. And out of 50 people, only 6 got together to make this thing. I think it took them about 1.5 years to get it together. So we've been 6 years after that as an organization. I joined right at the beginning. My wife and I joined, and we've loved participating. It gives us a raison d'etre for everyday life, and we visit the things we want to do, and we don't do the things we don't want to do. So I don't play mahjong, and it's not all things like that. They're just certain activities I don't join, and nobody resents my not being there. But it's great to have instant friends. You basically have people you get to know. There are 175 people in the village, and a number of them just don't participate at that level. They go to one thing or another. We have a great session on music every once in a while. Tom Benjamin presents aspects of music you've never known about, and just makes an enthralling program that takes about 4 people technically to work. And so we get 50 people for that one, but we might get, this morning we had something called Monday Meanderings, which is based on walking around Lake Elkhorn, which we don't do. And there were 8 of us, and the 8 of us just sat around and talked about mundane ideas. It gets back to COVID vaccinations probably just about every time. But we also talked about some really funny, giggly things that when you become friends are comfortable. So that's how the village works.
That's great. What are some examples of the, can you give me some examples of the things that you've participated in so folks get more of an idea of the breadth of?
I want to go first to my favorite, which is the travel one. We used to meet in the library, the Central Library of Howard County, and we'd have a potluck dinner, and then somebody would talk about their trips. And it went from very professional presentation of the birds of Uruguay to somebody talking about all the stumbles they made on their trip through Dubrovnik or some other place that some of us have been to and some haven't. So there's a familiarity, and then gets a conversation. Even the most professional ones are very interactive. And so somebody says, well, did you do that? Oh no, I didn't know, and so it's trying to build a friendship you can depend on, that you can come to. It turns out to be quite good in COVID times, but in regular times, we're seniors. We've got time, we've got tremendous backgrounds and education or experience. Whether you work for the CIA or drove a bus, it's still interesting, the things you've done, and you get a chance to talk about it or hear about people who have quite different lives from your own.
That sounds great. I just, before I talked with you, I was talking with a travel agent who's going to be part of our event as well. And travel is one of my most favorite things, and I can't wait to get back to it. So
I feel like I lost a year, especially visiting grandchildren. And so, I'm anxious to get back to it too, as long as I'm able.
Sure. So if I come June, I'll be eligible to join the village. Shh. I'm not worried about admitting that. It's kind of obvious. But at any rate, how does one go about becoming part of the village in Howard?
Oh, okay. The easiest way, if you're online capable, is to go to thevillageinhoward.org, write that whole thing out, or get it half right, and of course on your computer choices will come up, including the Village in Howard, and you get a website that looks a little like my background here, and you can choose. The first thing you should go to is not how to sign up, but click on, there's a green button that's called Calendar, and click on that, and you see in fact, you should do that even if you're not interested in joining. See all the things we do. Right now on Zoom, most of them are open to the general public, so you could even come and join us and say, hi, I'm Joe Smith. I'm thinking about joining your organization, and if the discussion, you might get bombarded by people telling you why you have to join and so forth. But it's a nice, friendly setup. I don't do that in the middle of somebody's presentation on South Africa or something like that. And go to the calendar first. And then there's another one, to join. You hit the to join button, and it goes easily from there. If you're a little bit leery about working on the computer, I can recite the phone number, but that's not easy to do it. But you call the office, or get somebody to tell you what the phone number is and call and say, I'd like to join. Process starts from there. You'll be fine.
Okay, we'll have the information for phone number and everything on the page for the fair, so people will have your contacts.
Wonderful.
So, Kim, this just sounds like a lot of fun. I like what you said, instant friends, and it's great for people who are moving into the community, and for people who lived here their whole lives, because a lot of times people, as you get older, you might move closer to your grandchildren, And this gives you a chance to make instant friends.
Very, very much so. We have people who have done that, moved into the community. In fact, our most active and most helpful member moved from upstate New York here to be close to her children. And that's worked out quite well for her, but also she said the village has just been a wonderful way. And actually she's given a lot because she's technically so capable that our Zoom meetings and all the website changes that we have to make, she's been quite instrumental in and was here from the start. She's one of those 6 people I talked about.
Oh, wow. That's terrific. And also, you mentioned there are 300 plus villages across the country. So if people are moving, it's something for them to look for where they're moving to kind of get connected that way.
Some of them are independent like we are. Others, like the ones in Montgomery County, I think there are 3 or 4 of them in Montgomery County, are run by their Office on Aging. So they're different constructions. Okay. Some are in wealthy communities. Some are in not so wealthy communities. Some are run by people under the age of 55, strictly for people over 65, that they actually are just a service organization. And it's not so much social as getting you a ride to the community center, to the senior center or something like that. And,
so I'd just like to go back really quickly. You mentioned you have 2 levels. One is for the social, and then there's an upgraded level that provides you with the opportunity to ask for help in different services. But
that's exactly right. And you can move from one to the other anytime you want.
Okay.
You know, there are dues, you know, there's a fee you pay so that we can have an office that we don't use right now and a part-time person. And there are other things like paying for the computer capability and so forth that our dues cover about 46% of. And then the rest of it is by money we can raise or grants we've gotten from other organizations. We're very grateful that Columbia Association helped us at the beginning quite generously, and that got us started. And we're almost self-sufficient now that our budget is just a little bit larger than our dues.
Okay, well, that's terrific. And being a young organization, 6 years in some ways sounds like you've been around for a while, but in the other ways you're just still hitting your stride, I'm sure. And this last year has challenged that.
Yeah. And anybody who comes new can be a part of the growth. It's not a service you buy. We always look at it as everybody is a member, and so it's as good as you make it, rather than, well, you're not doing what I want to do. Well, then you run a program that's exactly what you want. And if you are not capable of doing that, all you have to do is stimulate some of your friends to do it. So it's very much self-generating, and I think that's a good part of it, that we feel like we all are a part of it, not consumers.
Oh, that's great. So if I bring something to it that I really love, chances are there are probably other people in the group that say, oh, I was hoping somebody would start something like that, but hadn't quite stepped up to do it yet.
That worked with bocce, but it didn't work with bowling. We had a couple people that wanted to get a bowling group together, and we just couldn't get bowling going. Who knows what does it? And biking, there are a lot of people who are bicyclists in the village, but the Office on Aging runs something called Cycle to Health, if you don't know about it, that does it all. So we don't do, as a village, we don't do anything bicycle oriented, but that group does it. The Cycle to Health is for seniors, and it's a wonderfully organized, again, on a computer through the Office on Aging.
Okay, that's good too. That's good. So you don't compete with each other; you complement one another.
Correct.
Perfect.
I hope.
So, is there anything else you'd like to share about the village? This has been great. I've loved this concept since I first learned about it, and I just really excited to share it with everyone.
Yeah, that's all I'd say. Is I'm in love with it too. If you think you'd like it, please join. We got plenty of room. We hope to be a much bigger part. One of our goals is to get bigger, not because we need it for revenue, because it turns out it doesn't work that way. But the more we can serve the county, and the more people who don't have other resources for really having a good time, that is, your church doesn't have a great senior group or something like that, this is a wonderful way to have friends that mean something.
That's excellent. Kim, thank you so much for spending this time sharing about something you obviously love.
Yeah, thanks for giving me the opportunity.
And the best advertisement is having someone who loves what they're doing share about it. So,
and that's part of the village too, is everybody's got their enthusiasm, and you might not care about what it is they love so much, but they love it so much you get kind of pulled in, at least for the moment of somebody's presentation on the Supreme Court or whatever it is.
sure. Well, that's